A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to CoreTV News at this hour. I am Omotayo Alo. The President, Muhammad Buhari, has re-emphasized the supremacy of the party while urging party members to shed their sword over the festering crisis within the All Progressives Congress. This was at the opening of the party's first National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja since its inauguration on May 29. He expressed dismay at the fact that the party seems to be losing the war internally while suing for peace among the contending figures.
This is the first gathering of members of APC's National Executive Committee since it became the ruling party. The meeting had in attendance all the main actors in the crisis that has gripped the party in recent times. It provided President Buhari an opportunity to remind party members how they all rode to success on APC's platform. He urged them to shelve personal ambition for the party's progress.
Let us, as members of APC, no matter our personal differences, get together and meet the mandate given to us by this country. This is my personal appeal, and in the name of God, whatever your personal interest is and ambition, please keep it close to your heart and in your pocket.
He also charged the members to strive to reclaim the confidence of Nigerians in their ability to steer the country right.
Let APC work, and let the system work, and let us have a government that will earn the respect of our constituencies.
Earlier, the national chairman of the party, John Odidi-Oyegun, sought to deflect attention from the intra-party crisis by saying that the main aim of the meeting was to ratify membership of the Board of Trustees.
The main item on your agenda, which is before you, is of course the ratification, approval by this body of aspects of the membership of the Board of Trustees. We are less than 2 years old. We'll be 2 years at the end of this month. And we have not had a lot of time to ensure that all the organs of this party function as prescribed for them by the Constitution. So we want to complete the composition of the Board of Trustees so that they too can be called into session to undertake their constitutional duties.
The meeting is one which party chieftains hope will bring a final solution to the crisis arising from the National Assembly leadership tussle before proceedings resume on July 21.
Senate President Bukola Saraki on Friday reaffirmed his commitment to the ideas and policies of the All Progressives Congress at a meeting with state chairmen of the party. This, he says, in contrary to concerns about his stance on the party. Senator Saraki also assured the party chairman that the reconciliation meeting hosted by APC governors went well. He said all these in response to concerns expressed by the delegation.
I want to reassure you on behalf of all our senators on the APC platform that we are committed to the party. We are going to work hard to resolve all the issues, because the hard work we had put in for this election, the hard-earned election with the support of Nigerians, we will definitely make sure that we live up to the expectations. We live up to the expectations of Nigerians particularly. We lead up to expectations of those of you who are here, who we know have a lot of respect for us, who have worked with us, who have a lot of hopes in us. And inshallah, we will not disappoint you. We'll make you proud of this 8th Senate. We'll make you proud of the APC senators here. We'll make you proud of what the Senate will be under an APC leadership, so that at the end of the day, all the promises we made to Nigerians, inshallah, we will deliver.
I would like to thank you and to inform you that from time to time we'll be visiting you to interact with you and to tell you what we feel about the party, and particularly to talk to you about the supremacy of our party. We are happy that you are a party man, and as advised by Mr. President, you know what it takes to form a party, and we employ you to, as a matter of necessity, uphold or upheld the supremacy of our party, and not just upheld it, to preach to others, to also uphold that supremacy of our party as contained in our constitution of the APC.
The All Progressives Congress APC is convinced that the current leadership crisis in the National Assembly will soon be resolved. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Lai Mohammed, gave the assurance at the end of the first National Executive Council meeting in Abuja. He said all the parties in the crisis have agreed on the need for a resolution because of the negative impact of the lingering dispute.
What we actually dealt with today was just part of the BOT. I mean, it's not the whole membership of BOT. I think we dealt basically with item 5, the issue of past national chairmen and chairmen of board of trustees of political parties that have produced a past president, senators, members of House of Representatives, etc., and who are members of the party. We also dealt with the provision that dealt with the powers of the NWC to make nominations. We dealt with, and we received nominations from all the states and nominations from all the zones. I think the less said about this logjam, the better, not just for the party, but for the whole nation. I'm sure it is not just in the interest of APC that this matter be resolved. I think it's in the overall interest of all of you who voted for change. Now, so I won't want to dwell on the nitty-gritty of what the resolution is going to be. Because one, I don't know. Two, it's an ongoing process. But when we talk about party supremacy, it derives from the constitution of the party.
As the All Progressives Congress searched for a way out of the crisis rocking the party, the Chief of Staff to Governor Adams Oshiomhole and former member House of Representatives said the party will overcome its present challenges. Patrick Obayagbon, however, took a swipe at the former Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, over the missing excess crude fund as challenged by his boss. Rashid has more in this report.
While Nigerians continue to wait for the ministerial list of President Muhammadu Buhari, Patrick Obahiagbo, Chief of Staff to the Edo State Governor Adams Oshiomhole, says Nigeria will indeed experience the change that his party campaigned on.
What they think is the slow pace of President Muhammadu Buhari. Whereas I share their tenterhooks, but let me hasten to say that when they raise this criticism, they are not mindful of the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari came on board against the backdrop of 12 years of political holocaust, that they came on board against the backdrop of 12 years of political Philistinism, economic vampirism. So it's going to take a month of Sundays to cleanse the organs tables. So my appeal to Nigerians is for them to exercise some little patience. I am very convinced that in Buhari, at the end of the day, Nigerians will be happy that they have found a political palladium and an economic policy.
Obahiagbo says the accusation by his boss, Adams Oshiomhole, against the former Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, is genuine and real, daring Okonjo-Iweala to grace the four-man committee set up to look into the matter and explain her side of the story.
A committee has been inaugurated, a committee of 4 governors by the National Economic Council. It is up to the former finance minister to make herself available before that committee to prove her assertion, quod erat demonstrandum. The matter is already in the public domain. I do hope and I challenge her to take advantage of that 4-man committee to justify the statement she is making.
Meanwhile, the National Publicity Secretary of APC has urged Nigerians to be patient with Buhari, saying the minister's list will be released soon.
In the area of corruption, the president has started in earnest by ordering all, revenue-generating agencies like MPA, Customs, NMPC to abolish all illegal accounts. He has said, the process also of getting the true figures of what we earn. So it's not correct that we are not running. But you see, if appointing ministers is what you mean, they will be appointed very soon.
Political pundits are, however, of the opinion that the internal rift within the APC must be resolved to move the party and especially the nation forward. Rashid, CoreTV News.
The crisis rocking the National Assembly seems not limited to the All Progressives Congress, as members of the People's Democratic Party disagree over who should occupy some positions in the National Assembly amongst its senators. One of the senators who spoke with journalists in condition of anonymity in Abuja said powerful forces in the party were planning to install their cronies as principal officers of the party in the National Assembly. It will be recalled that the party, through its National Publicity Secretary, Olisa Metu, had announced the zoning of the offices to different zones. Metu said that in the Senate, the party zoned the office of the Minority Leader to the South-South, and the position of the Minority Whip was moved to the North-Central. However, the North-East and South-West will provide the Deputy Minority Leader and Deputy Minority Whip, respectively. In the House of Representatives, Metu said the PDP caucus in the chamber had already zoned the placement of the Minority Leader to the South-South without informing the party, though the party had accepted. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode on Friday has alerted the general public on the activities of some imposters impersonating him via various social media platforms with the intention of defrauding unsuspecting citizens. The governor, in a statement signed by his Chief Press Secretary Abib Aruna, said some unscrupulous characters are attempting to capitalize on his goodwill to dupe members of the public, particularly his associates. He said he has been daunted with complaints from his associates of the rapid proliferation of his identity in cyberspace under different platforms, especially the social media, with obvious intent to defraud Nigerians. The governor said the faceless character, who currently operates with the email a_ambody@yahoo.com, is going about soliciting for CVs from his friends and acquaintances for appointments. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode says government has concluded plans to quickly convene a traffic summit that would bring all stakeholders together to outline permanent solutions to traffic management in the state. Speaking on Thursday while hosting the Core Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Commission, Boboye Oyeyemi, he reiterated that the need for all stakeholders in the transportation sector to key into his administration's effort to reduce traffic congestion in the metropolis. The governor also appealed to tank firm owners in the Apapa axis to partner with government and stakeholders to find a permanent solution to the traffic gridlock that is being experienced in the area. Speaking earlier, the Co-Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Commission, Boboye Oyeyemi, expressed happiness at the bold steps already taken by the Ambode administration concerning traffic management. Travelers had called on relevant authorities to work out strategies of averting the traffic bottleneck that has become a regular feature on the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. The Lamenda ordeal commuters go through spending productive hours in traffic in what is described as an avoidable menace. According to road users who declined speaking on camera, the incessant traffic is caused by a monthly activity of the popular religious organization. Meanwhile, men of the Federal Road Safety Corps were on ground to manage the situation. We take a break now, and when we come back, we'll be back with more stories. Do well to stay tuned.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DJ360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
If you're just joining us, as CoreTV News on the hour, and for more news and information, do visit our social media platform, facebook.com/CoreTV News. You could follow us and also tweet at us at CoreTV News NG. You could also get more information on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space and news. President Muhammad Buhari has promised that his administration will ensure that the armed forces are well equipped to enable them discharge their responsibilities internally and globally. He gave this assurance in a speech delivered on his behalf by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the graduation ceremony of the Senior Course 37 of the Commandant Staff College in Jaji. President Buhari promised that his administration will not relent in equipping the armed forces to firmly address all forms of threats that may arise both in peace and at war. He also reminded members of the armed forces that they have a principal role to play in protecting the lives and property of the citizenry.
We must therefore live up to expectations at all times. We must uphold our nation's enduring legacy in global peacekeeping operations. Gentlemen, as members of the armed forces, you have a principal role to play in protecting the lives and properties of our citizens from all forms of internal or external threats, while maintaining internal peace and security remains primarily the responsibility of the civil police. The scale of the current security challenges facing our nation requires the military to play a more decisive role in support of civil power. As graduates of the Command and Staff College Senior Course, I'm convinced about your capabilities. I'm optimistic that you will not let this nation down.
Your presence here today is a clear testimony of how dearly you hold this great institution. Our guest of honor, sir, distinguished invited guests, today's graduation ceremony formally marks the successful completion of yet another senior course. The course assembled on 30th of July 2014 and is made up of 174 students comprising 70 Nigerian Army officers, 43 Nigerian Navy officers, 31 Nigerian Air Force officers, and 9 civilians from the Defense Intelligence Agency, Department of State Service, Ministry of Defense, Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Prison Service, National Youth Service Corps, and the Federal Road Safety Corps. Your Excellency, there are also 21 international military officers on the course, comprising 5 from Mali, 4 from Ghana, and 2 each from Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, and Togo. There are also 1 international student each from Cameroon, Chad, the Gambia, and Senegal. It has been 49 weeks of intense operational military training and academic activities for these students.
President Muhammad Buhari has described the latest wave of killings by Boko Haram in Borno State as most inhuman and barbaric. He also wants Muslims in Nigeria and across the world to reject with one voice the claims of the terrorists that they are doing God's will. President Buhari said this in his reaction to the killing of 150 people, including women and children in Kukawa, I beg your pardon. He, however, believes that the latest violence and the last desperate attacks are fleeing agent of terrorism. The president ordered that it underscores the urgent need for the success of the international coalition against insurgency and terrorism in Nigeria and neighboring countries. The acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Prince Uche Secondus, has, on behalf of members of the party nationwide, condemned the continued terror attacks, particularly the mindless killing of 145 Nigerians in Borno State on Thursday. The party, in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Olisa Metu, in Abuja on Friday, said the party was extremely grieved by the killings, which is said cannot be justified under any guise while calling on Nigerians to present a common front against insurgency, while calling on those behind the insurgency to embrace peace and end the senseless bloodshed. Mitu also commiserated with the government of Borno State and the families of those who lost their lives and prayed God to give them the fortitude to bear the loss. He also called on all citizens to continue to support and pray for the security forces as they risk their lives while defending the nation. Chadian security forces announced that they have seized a large weapon cache, including guns, rockets, and ammunition in a house in N'Djamena, occupied by suspected members of the Boko Haram. The officials said the weapons buried under the courtyard of the house in the eastern neighborhood of Guinea-Bissau were destined for northern Nigeria. One of the investigators said on condition of anonymity that they were part of the weapons that Bana Fanaye, Boko Haram's logistics chief for northern Cameroon and Chad, was preparing to send to Nigeria. He said the revelation came during an investigation after Fanaye was arrested in a raid by Chadian police in June. State prosecutor Al-Ghazem Qasim said the latest arms cache discovered on Thursday was found hidden in one of the houses raided on June 27. The Nigerian Labour Congress in Osun State is again at loggerheads with the state government. This time it's about the alleged plan by the state government to cut workers' salaries by 50%. Government had earlier announced the 50% removal cut in the salaries and allowances of political office holders and appointers. Addressing the press conference in Osogbo, Osun State capital, the state chairman of NLC, Jacob Adekomi, disclosed that Labour has it on good authority that the state government is planning to cut the salaries of civil servants on level 8 and above by 50%. He attributed the situation government as a product of systemic failure, adding that Labour will restrict any attempt to cut the salaries of its workers even by one.
That government has resolved to cut the salaries of public servants in Osun State by 50% from January 2015. And we want to say unequivocally that it is unacceptable to the entire workforce in the state of Osun. It is satanic, wicked, and suicidal for any government and barbaric to arrive at this position after he had failed his constitutional responsibility for the past 8 months. Never will the workers accept this. If you are coming with assassin, you have to pay us fully pension. If you pay our pension fully, then do whatever you want to do. Abikilawi.
The Civil Society's Coalition for Emancipation of Osun State, CSE, has raised alarm over the safety of Justice Folahomi Oloyede following a petition to the House of Assembly asking the lawmakers to impeach Governor Rauf Aregbesola. The group raised the alarm in a statement made available in Osogbo on Friday by Ebenezer Oladapo. CSE said the judge did nothing wrong by speaking the mind of the people of the state, who they said have been subjected to hardship through the alleged financial recklessness of the governor. The group therefore urges all well-meaning citizens of Osun State, home and abroad, as well as all God-fearing people all over the world, to prevail on the state lawmakers to carry out its constitutional duties as has been demanded by the people of Osun State through Oloyede's petition. The Nigerian Labour Congress in Osun State also said that the President, National Handicap Careers Association of Nigeria, Adewale Adeyanju, has called that the government bring about help in helping those who are handicapped. He also charged that the government should stop against discrimination against persons living with disabilities and segregation. The report. Though the gathering looks very scanty, but it never failed to drive in its message of seeking a habitable Nigeria for persons living with disabilities. The occasion was aimed in creating awareness for health-related challenges affecting its members and the fight against counterfeit drugs, the major source of their predicament. Representing the medical director of LASUT, Latinwo Laide, who is also the director of medical social services, LASUT, charged the group on the need not to see themselves as disadvantaged in the society. She ordered that they never give up on the cause of engaging the government of the day to provide what rightfully accrues to them in the society.
When you have that spirit of excellence, people will respect you. Your work will speak for you. Wherever you find yourself, as somebody who is disabled in one way or the other, make sure you give your best and let your work speak for you.
The president of the disability group, Adewale Adenyoju, tasked the government to tackle the ugly trend of manufacturing fake and counterfeit goods and products, as this poses threat to the wellness and health of the citizenry.
If we are a big man, and you will write later to come, you know it will be different. But we are begging them to change their negative behavior. That you want to show them ability, not inability. We are able. The only problem is as God has made us. We have a challenge. The challenge is about what we cannot control. Circumstances that is beyond our control.
In the meantime, the organizers of this event are hopeful that some positive effort recorded at the end of the 2 hours intensive interactive session will put an end to the issues presented. Omotayo, CoreTV News, Lagos. We'll be back after this timeout with business, entertainment, and stories from outside Nigeria. Don't go away.
That's a sign of protest, saying that things are not good.
Women share the most amazing thoughts.
When it's close to the time, our people will protest
on national issues.
That was their own point.
That was an accident. That is different.
And they do it.
Politics is about being a servant.
Passionately.
Without a woman, there will be no success at all.
Sharing the adorable word of women.
There are some women who have what it takes.
In politics.
Margaret Thatcher, Iron Lady. Where she's too soft, she's too soft.
Only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back, and on the business scene, we have the federal government is planning to borrow between 180 billion naira and 240 billion naira through the sale of government bonds in the third quarter. According to the Department Management Office, the amount will be borrowed through the issuance of 5 and 20-year bonds. The debt office has raised 210.22 billion naira through government bond sales in the second quarter. DMO is planning to sell the 15.55% in 2020 bond at auctions in July, August and September with 35 billion naira to 45 billion naira on offer each month. Meanwhile, the federal government sovereign bond yields rose by more than 10 basis points along the curve on Monday, as domestic investors worried about the impact of a weaker currency on inflation and a possible rise in government borrowing. The Central Bank of Nigeria is also planning to borrow about 872.96 billion naira in new treasury bills issues between June 18 and September 3. The total debt proposed for the third quarter is 12.3% short of the 995.5 billion naira raised in the second quarter of the year. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, says it's collected 1.85 trillion naira as tax from various sectors of the economy between January and June this year. Acting chairman of the agency, Samuel Ogungbeson, made this known while appearing before the leadership of the Senate to intimate it on the performance of the agency in the first half of 2015 fiscal year. It disclosed that 697 billion naira was generated from petroleum profit tax, 778 billion naira from company tax, while 376 billion naira was realized from value-added tax within the period on the review. He, however, noted that there was a shortfall in the level of non-oil revenue. He noted that efforts by the FIRS to get surcharges from owners of private jets and mansions in the country over the years had not yielded the desired results. For his part, the President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, tasked the FIRS to find ways to improve on collection of non-oil revenue. He frowned at the country's dependence on revenue generated from crude oil sales, pointing out that non-oil revenue was capable of making up for the revenue shortfall recorded by the country following the drop in international oil price. About 70% of the air accidents that happened in Nigeria were caused by regulatory inefficiency and negligence by government agencies in the industry, airline operators of Nigeria have said. This was disclosed by the executive chairman of OAN, Captain Unoje Megasin, while speaking at a forum in Lagos, lamented the airlines lose about 27.6 billion naira to bird strike incident alone annually. Megasin explained that every year the airlines record 30 incidents of airstrikes, which is the entering of birds into the aircraft engines at landing or takeoff. This is said as average of 2.5 incidents every month, adding that the cost of a single SL aircraft engine is about $4 million, which airlines acquire to replace their damaged engines. And on the entertainment scene, millions of households experiencing the joy of instantly playing any song they want online, making music streaming reach a record high both in the United Kingdom and the United States. Number of songs played in the UK rose by 80% compared to this time last year. New figures from the British pornographic industry show there have been 11.5 billion streams in the first 6 months of 2015 compared to 14.8 billion for the whole of 2014. Again, in America, on-demand streaming is up at 92.4% with 135 billion streams through the first half of 2015, according to Nestlé, a firm which monitors music streaming worldwide. With the launch of Apple Music, which joins the likes of Spotify, Deezer and Tidal, the popularity of streamed music is set to increase further, according to the experts. Despite the fact that video streams and platforms like YouTube are yet to be included in the official chart data, the figures are going up also, as statistics show. There has been a 98.2% rise compared to the first 6 months of 2014. And on to the foreign scene, Colombia's capital of Bogota is currently on edge following 2 small bomb explosions on Thursday afternoon. Defense Minister Luis Carlos Villegas did not blame any group for the explosion, neither of which caused serious injuries. They come at a time of renewed security concerns in Colombia after several high-profile attacks on infrastructure by FARC rebels. President Juan Manuel Santos departed early from a regional summit in neighboring Peru to chair a security meeting after the explosions, both of which targeted the offices of a private pension fund, Poveni, in the financial district. Though there was no confirmation of who was responsible, speculation quickly turned to the leftist Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, or FARC, after its recent attacks on major oil pipelines that are across the mountainous country. The Interior Ministry in Bahrain has announced that it is beefing up security measures around the country's mosque over threats made by Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant group. The measures were taken after a suicide attack on Aisha Mosque in neighboring Kuwait last week, in which an ISIL member killed 27 people. The Interior Ministry said that security volunteers trained by the civil defense would be deployed in different parts of the country to support the work of the police on Friday, when large numbers of Muslims flocked to mosque to perform noon prayers. ISIL commander Tuki Al-Banili, a Baranti who has been stripped of his citizenship, announced on Twitter last Saturday that the next attack after Kuwait would be in Bahrain. A poll has shown that supporters of Greece's bailout terms have taken a wafer-thin lead over the no vote backed by the leftist government 48 hours before a referendum that may determine the country's future in the Eurozone. The opinion poll by the respected Alco Institute published in the Ethnos newspaper on Friday put the yes camp on 44.8% against 43.4% for the no vote. But the lead was within the pollsters' 3.1 percentage point margin of error, with 11.8% saying they are still undecided. With banks shorted all week, cash withdrawals rationed, and commerce seizing up, the vote could decide whether Greece gets another last-ditch financial rescue in exchange for more harsh austerity measures or plunge deeper into economic crisis. Liberia officials say they are investigating whether the new cases of Ebola virus disease in the country had spread through animals after a third victim tested positive to the virus nearly 2 months after it was declared Ebola-free. Case management team leader for Liberia's Ebola task force, Moses Masako, disclosed that the 3 villagers who had tested positive for the disease have a history of having hot dog meat together. He said the response team is also checking on deaths of hundreds of cattle in remote Lofa County. The first new Liberian sufferer, 17-year-old Abraham Memiga, died on Sunday in the village of Nidowen, while 2 others have since tested positive in the village. Some locals reported that Memiga and others in the village had recently dug up and eaten a dog meat. Deputy Health Minister told that Inyaswa revealed that the 2 latest cases, 24-year-old and another 27-year-old, are stable. It has not been proved that dogs can carry the virus, although humans have been infected by eating monkey flesh in past outbreaks. Liberia alone accounts for more than 4,800 of the 11,220 deaths in the outbreak. Well, this is where we call it a wrap on CoreTV News at this hour. Thank you so very much for watching. My name remains Omotayo. Alo.